Watch and learn, baby.
Hello everyone, Gene Molina here, Natural Tennis Solutions. So I want to go over a strategy video. Haven't done too much on strategy. Typical thing is get the ball over the net, but that doesn't work with what I'm going to show you here. So we want to hit with what's called intention. If I intend to hit a ball somewhere, then I shouldn't be thinking of my technique. I should be thinking of where I'm hitting this ball. In match play, we get tensed up pretty fast because we're thinking of technique and we're worrying about what's going to happen. So if you get to the point where you can trust in your stroke and just swing and intend on doing something. So if I were to keep my head at contact and not look up to where I'm hitting it. Now my intention right now is to bounce this ball and hit the ball directly down the middle of the court, right down the middle, but I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to look at contact and I'm going to look at the ball at contact and I'm going to let my swing go, but I'm not going to assume that I'm going to miss this. I'm going to 100% in my head intentionally hit this ball down the center. So here goes. I'm assuming it went down the center. I know it hit the net, but it went down the center. The intention is there. Okay, so now if I intend to hit this down the center and deep, now that changes things. So down the center the first time, I didn't think of height. I thought of direction. Now I think of height and direction. So it's going to go down the center, and I'm hoping to intentionally hit it deep. Let's see what happens. And I'm assuming it went deeper. So that swing is my intentional swing. I did not think any technique. All I thought was where I'm hitting the ball and the height and where, which was direction. So that is all I'm thinking to do. In match play, we get so caught up into thinking of technique. Match play and competition is about strategy. Forget technique. You are to intentionally try to do something now when you're in a competitive situation. If you're working in a practice match, working on technique, that's different. But once you're in competition, forget it. It's all about the competitive strategy. Figure out what you need to do to your opponent. Figure out whether you need to give them deep shots and then angle the shots, or short shots and then lob them. Whatever you need to do to manipulate the point in your favor and to make them uncomfortable. The simplest way to think of strategy in tennis is make your opponent uncomfortable while you remain comfortable. A lot of people try to do stuff that they don't even own in match play, and it doesn't make any sense because you need to do what you own in order to gain an advantage. So for strategy, if I try to get you guys to just really test yourself out right now, test whether you can hit this ball intentionally deep every time to push your opponent back. So if you try to push your opponent back, that will hopefully create opportunities. So the opportunities come from pushing your opponent back. So if I want to put this ball deep in the court, not thinking of technique, not thinking of anything, I'm just thinking intentionally hitting deep. And again, I'm not even looking at it. I'm just going through and I'm assuming and I'm 100% sure that I'm going to hit this ball correctly and I'm going to hit it deep in the court. And if I hit it deep out, that's a good error. I know some people don't believe in a good error, but I intentionally wanted to hit deep. So if I intentionally aim deep and the ball goes long, that's a good error. I can calibrate and then maybe bring it down a little bit. But if I'm intending to go deep and I hit it really short, then my intentions were not met. If you unintentionally hit short, right, but you meant to hit deep, that's okay. But when I'm making errors that are short and I had no intention, that's no good. Every error needs to have an intention, and every shot made needs to have an intention. So if you're going out there not thinking about what to do, it's no good. So, quick little story that actually I made up for my kids to try to remember about this depth issue, trying to push your opponent back. So it came down to, I don't know if some of you are going to be entertained by it, but the Great Wall of China and how they had to build it to keep the Mongolians out. So I made up the story for the kids, and I told them that back then the Mongolians couldn't get over the wall. So now what they had to do was they had to just be a little devious and mischievous, and in order to just get back at the Chinese for putting up this wall, they wanted to just throw bombs over the wall. Now these bombs were fuzzy, round, yellow bombs. And what the Chinese did was they discovered that the bombs only blew up when they bounced twice. So the Chinese understood this, and what they ended up doing was every time the bomb would come over, they would catch it and they would just throw it back over. But they realized that the further they threw this bomb back over, the more trouble the Mongolians had throwing it back, because they weren't smart enough to actually catch the bomb and then run up to the wall and throw it from there. They would actually throw this bomb from where they would catch it from. So if they caught it from really far back, they would throw it from there, and then that would mean they might not even get it back over the wall on the next throw. So you got to ask yourself, are you the Chinese or are you the Mongolians? The Mongolians are playing brainless tennis. They're not trying to do anything. They have no intention. Now the Chinese have an intention. Their intention is to drive the Mongolians back as far as possible with these fuzzy yellow bombs and try to force the Mongolians to not even be able to throw it back over the net, or to give them maybe a shorter throw so that they can come up and throw it deeper again. So the main part of the story there is when you push your opponent back, you make them have to deal with depth. And if your opponent is not good at dealing with depth, they're probably going to move back and maybe hit short again. So there's three results that can happen. They either make an error, they either hit back a short ball, or they either hit back a deep ball. So if they hit a deep ball, now what's your job again? You're going to hit deep again. Now if they hit short, you're going to be able to come up and hopefully take advantage and have control of the point. And then if they make an error, then you're done. Point's over. So intentionally hitting the ball deep and pushing the opponent back. There was a good series by Jorge Capestany about the contact heights and how you can try to control your contact height at where you like it, but the other thing is to try to manipulate where your opponent makes contact. So the one I really liked from him is there are different zones. So you got zone 1 from the knee down to the foot, from the knee up, oh that's zone number 1. From the knee up to the hip is zone number 2. From the hip up to the shoulder is number 3, and from there and up is zone number 4. So every time you intend to hit a deep ball, you intend to hit at that player, and you intend to hit it to them in zone either 3 or zone 4. Doesn't mean you have to lob every time, but you try to really get the ball up there, because when I try to get the ball up to my opponent, if I imagine someone's there, I'm going to hit this ball, I'm going to hit it up a little higher, so that ball, when it bounces, it's going to go up. So now you're intentionally trying to make the ball bounce and come up in this zone here, which is zone 3 for them, or zone 4. And when you do that, you actually drive them back. So strategy, push the opponent back. That is the key here. Intentionally trying to push your opponent back on every shot is not the easiest thing to do. So give it a try and let me know how it goes. I know that for my clients, it's been really good. It's very eye-opening as to what the opportunities it creates when you can intentionally hit deep and make your opponent get pushed back into the court. All right, hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you on the next one. Make sure you like, subscribe. Take care.